Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by our friends at Bet365 and your local Ford store. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me here live in the Xfinity studio, it is Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. What's going on today, Chuck?
Hey, I am back in time for the show. It's been a busy day, I would say. Practice started a little bit later than usual, but got here in time, so we're good to talk some Flyers hockey. There was a preseason game last night. They were on the ice today for practice, and we got a new Rick Tocchet nickname.
We do have a new Rick Tocchet nickname. It's also a huge day, the anniversary of a huge day in Flyers history. We're going to get to that a little later in the show. Couple of things. Well, let's just start it with one thing I want to tell you about. It's the Big Brothers and Big Sisters. That's right. We all know that here at All City, all across the network, it is Big Brothers, Big Sisters month, and we are raising money for the Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America. All you got to do to donate, it's super easy. There's a link right below the chat box. Click that and help us get to our goal, or go to bbbs.org, bbbs.org. There we go. bbbs.org, and see maybe if you have the time and inclination, what it takes to be a mentor, a one-on-one mentor, a big brother or big sister. Either one would be huge in helping your community. So check it out. It is Big Brothers, Big Sisters month here. Why don't you give it a try? All right, so we did have a preseason game last night.
We did.
It was once again untelevised, but it
really bothers you.
There's cameras in the building. They're there. And it's like some guy on an iPhone recording these. Montreal is like the epicenter. They are the Yankees of hockey.
Well, the stream we got for last night's
stream
game
was much better.
It was an actual television stream.
Yeah.
Rather than the Sunday night stream was
a guy with an iPhone.
Well, it was just the arena.
Yeah.
It was the video they put up on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
This one was actually, I think it was RDS, but it would have been a French language broadcast if it wasn't overlaid by Tim and Tavadoric.
Going back and trying to find highlights, I have found them. I have found the Philly version of announcing. I have found the French version, and there was a couple that were narrated what seemed to be like the English version of the Montreal broadcast. So
okay.
It was a much higher quality last night, 100%. It's still just like, come on, put them on television. Anyway. Here we go. So the Flyers, this one not nearly as long, but probably not nearly as interesting as the Islanders game on Sunday. Flyers lose 4-2. They give up a goal a minute in, Cole Caufield, and then they trail the rest of the game. I wouldn't say it was the best game I've ever seen. I think they rounded into form as it went on. It seemed a little choppy early. I mean, when you have Sean Couturier, who is the Flyers' most responsible player, the least likely, I would say, to commit a turnover along the boards that leads to a 3-on-2, and that happens. It's like, all right, this is freaking preseason hockey. I thought that was a dead giveaway a minute in when that happens, but we have them losing 4-2. Anthony Richard and Owen Tippett score the Flyers goals. I want to do a little on Owen Tippett in a second, but first, just overall thoughts of the game, Chuck.
Well, and I made this point in my column that I wrote after the game. It's important, number one, to acknowledge that Montreal's roster in this game, their lineup, was much better than the Flyers.
Oh, yes.
And that makes sense. You want to put on a good show for your home fans, who you basically forced to buy tickets to this game in order to get their season tickets. You want to have them get to see the really good players. The Flyers going on the road. It was a day of game flight because they don't have the rules. During the regular season, you're not allowed to do day of game travel. During the preseason, they let you do it. So the Flyers traveled up to Montreal that day. They're not going to make all the big names have to do it. Couturier did it. A couple other, Owen Tippett did it. But overall, the Flyers were at a deficit in terms of talent in this game. Number two, you have to evaluate the play of the veterans in preseason differently from the guys battling for spots. It's no big deal that Sean Couturier didn't look anywhere close to 100% Sean Couturier, even the post-back surgery Sean Couturier. It's no big deal he didn't look like that. in the first preseason game. For him, for Owen Tippett, for Travis Sanheim, I actually thought it looked pretty good, but for Travis Sanheim too, for them, the first game, the second game of preseason, it's more about just rounding into form, shaking off the cobwebs, skating around, getting yourself back into game shape, getting yourself back into that mentality. So the fact that the veterans didn't look great, and for the most part, they didn't, really no big deal. What matters in these preseason games, number one, is no one getting hurt. But number two, it's the guys who are battling for spots. And that's what really matters. It matters how Alex Bump looked. It matters how Jett Luchanko looked. It matters how Helge Grans looked, how Rodrigo Abols looked. That matters. Sean Couturier turning the puck over a minute and a half into the game. Yeah, could have done a better job. Doesn't matter.
No, if Coots played 0 preseason games, that would be ideal in my mind. I'd rather him just not play. He's
got to play a little.
He probably has to play in like the last those 2 home games. I'd like to see him get into those. But other than that, yeah, like it's just they're getting their cardio in, man. They're just trying to. I'm not the least bit concerned about that. It was just one of those, oh yeah, this is preseason hockey sort of moments for me. Like, yeah, even Coots, the guy who's least likely to commit that turnover, is the one who does it. Okay, we know what we're in for tonight. But I want to start in terms of the individual assessments with my guy, my favorite player on the team. It's Owen Tippett.
He wasn't great, but he did get a goal.
And that's all I care about with him at this point right now. No. Owen Tippett did something he didn't do in 148 minutes of power play time last year, score on the power play. And I like this setup to make it happen. He's on the left wing half wall. He gets the puck from the point, puts it immediately into the bumper, gets it right back, and leans into a wrist shot. Love it. Love it. Big fan. Big fan of that happening, him getting his shot off from everywhere, not just on the rush, but finding ways to create a little room for himself, gets it down low, into the bumper, give and go. Oh, no, he's shot it and it's in. We need more. We need more of that from him. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I agree. It can't hurt to get him a power play goal right off the bat, especially given the fact that he didn't score a power play goal all of last season, which is shocking, really. And honestly, some of that was system oriented. Look, the entire power play system last year was bad. But I remember when I asked Owen Tippett at the end of the season about not taking as many shots as he did the previous year. And first, he basically said, I wasn't aware of that, which I pointed out, that's not even something I'm going to pin on Tippett. Why isn't the coach telling him that? That's insane. But he also did say that some of that was he wasn't shooting as much on the power play by design, which again is insane. This is your volume shooter who can really rip the puck. Why are you not designing a power play for him to shoot a lot? But the fact that he was shooting last night on the power play, at the very least, that's a philosophical improvement over last year.
Like, all right, we saw him paired with Michkov a lot last year, and we're like, maybe this isn't great because like they both kind of need the puck. One just needs to shoot a million times. The other just is the best puck handler, best offensive player in the team. Let's figure out ways to, maybe we need to split them up. But like Zero's nuts. And if he's not shooting on the power play by design, why is he on the power play?
That's a very good point.
This is the thing he's good at.
Yeah.
It like, all right, yeah, man, we have Steph Curry, and you know what? We're only going to use him in the low post.
Yeah.
Like this is like
he's only going to pass.
And not to like
that's it.
We were both and not
Just
to compare the shooting ability, like, you know, Steph the greatest ever,
Right.
but like this is the thing Tippett can do. This is his competitive advantage that makes him a good NHL player. It's why he got paid a big bag of money. We are going to, by design, not use his skill. That's stupid.
Yeah, you're going to stick Wayne Simmons on the half wall.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're going to have him distribute. Now, we did think Owen Tippett made strides last year in terms of a little bit better playmaking, passing, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, he is not going to be Peter Forsberg. Like, that's not his game. He needs to rip the puck. I was happy to see it. I was happy to see him find a way to create a little space for himself and put it in on the power play. He had one last year where it looked like it was his.
Yeah.
And then I think Forster tipped it.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being, by the time we got to post game, everyone in the comments was like, no, he didn't get it. I was like, oh, well, never mind then. Not one of my stars. Let's see what Charlie thinks. But like, I that was just a good sign for me. Anthony Richard with the other one. Want to get to him in a second. But yeah, that's kind of the way.
Tony Dick.
Yeah, Tony Dick, man. Maybe. I just thought that was one of the good signs out of a game last night that was not all that memorable. Let's get to the guys battling for spots, Charlie.
Okay.
Jett Luchanko, we both think has a decent chance to make this team.
Yeah.
There's the question, like, all right, maybe even if he doesn't beat out like Grebenkin and Bump, if you can only have one of these three, you can always bring up Grebby and Bump at any point if they're phantoms. Luchanko, you send him back, that's that. How do you think Luchanko looked last night? 15-40 on ice, -1, 1 for 5 on faceoffs, 0 for 4 at 5 on 5. No shots, 3 blocks, 2 hits. That's his box score. What did you think of his actual play?
Yeah, I'm a little on the fence about it, but my initial instinct wasn't that impressed. I was impressed with him in the first period. I thought in the first period, he was one of the few guys on the ice that I thought stood out in a positive way for the Flyers, because that period was horrific. He was using his speed. He was going through the middle of the ice. He created a few entries that really backed them off, backed the Canadiens off, because he was moving so fast. Made a couple plays with Alex Bump, had a couple nice little passes in all three zones, really. And I was feeling pretty good. Then in the second period and third period, I didn't love what I saw. There was the one power play opportunity where he tried to enter the zone with the puck twice, turned it over both times, has the turnover on the empty net goal that Jack Eye scores to end it. And he just wasn't doing much, especially in the offensive third of the ice. That said, if you were watching, he was still doing a lot of little things right. So I wasn't ready to bury him. And I tried to hedge a little bit in my post-game column because my thought was he didn't blow me away, but I could see a world where the Flyers really liked what they saw. I will say, though, today after practice, I specifically asked Rick Tocchet, what did you think about Alex Bump and Jett Luchanko? Now, look, maybe this was just Tocchet losing his train of thought, but he basically said, yeah, both of them didn't get off to great starts, but the whole team didn't get off to great starts. And then he spent the entire rest of the answer talking about Alex Bump. Didn't mention Luchanko the rest of the way. That does hint to me kind of one of those, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. He might not have loved what he saw from Luchanko and felt like, oh, I'll focus on Bump because I have some positive things to say about him. Some constructive criticism too, but some positive things. And I'm just going to pretend that I didn't hear that you also asked me about Luchanko. That made me think that maybe I was right to come away mostly underwhelmed with Luchanko's game one. Look, they're going to give him more opportunities.
Sure.
If I'm right that Group A from today, from the practice session, is the game group, looks like he will play again tomorrow. If I'm correct, that's just a theory of mine. But he'll get more opportunities. He's not leaving camp early. I think he's going to stick it out the whole way. But I thought for a first game, especially given the fact that the competition is only going to get harder as the rosters get stronger and players get more and more close to NHL regular season ready, I didn't love his game. Wasn't a huge fan.
And it's really, I think it'll come down to what they're looking for from him and where they want to utilize him. We've spent plenty of time being like, will they kind of do the Sean Couturier thing and go, yeah, man, you can be our 4C. If you're doing the little things, we can use you in matchups. We can use you as a matchup advantage with your speed. Maybe we're going to have a little bit more of a skilled fourth line. All right. Perhaps, but if they're looking for a little bit more, you're saying, on the power play, he turned it over a couple of times in quick succession, not great in the face-off circle, and I'm looking, like one of the things I'm looking to see him make the jump with, and this is going to be a work in progress for years, perhaps, is his ability to create his own shot, his ability to fool goalies who are professional level. No shots on goal, 2 misses. You want to see a little more, but the little stuff, I think we kind of already know he can do that. The keep your head above water, he's not going to get killed stuff, because he did it last year. He played 4 games in the NHL and didn't look like, oh man, this guy straight up doesn't belong.
That's very true.
He wasn't impressive, but he looked like anyone else would look.
He had his moments.
Yeah.
I think he made some plays.
Yeah. We're looking to see a little more, though, I think now, especially with, they have added some center depth. There's other options at center. The coach who hated one of the centers is gone. They've added Dvorak. They've added Zegras. There's other ways they can go. Maybe not the best first showing, but again, first game, they're going to play 7 or they're going to play 5 more. He's going to get some chances.
Yeah, I think he's going to get at least 2 or 3 more games, I would assume. At least 2, maybe even more than that, especially if he does get tomorrow's game, which, again, not sure. But that group A today did look like a game group, and both him and Bump were in the game group, as was Rodrigo Abols, who then Tocchet said after practice he's going to play. So circumstantial evidence implying that very well could have been the game group. I'm not burying Jett Luchanko. I'm just saying that after the first period, I didn't love. There was nothing that he did post first period where I pointed to him and I'm like, yeah, he should make this team.
On the other guy who we've really focused on in terms of chances to make this team is Alex Bump. Played 15 and a half minutes, -2, 2 shots, a block, and a hit. We've talked about what's going to happen when he tries to carry the puck into the middle of the ice the way he seems to love to do. Did take a big hit at one point, but you thought like it was kind of the opposite of Luchanko. Started slow, then started to do a little bit more as the game went on.
I thought he was everywhere in the third period. I thought he was as impressive as anyone on the ice last night in the third period. He was everywhere. He almost scored on a breakaway. He set up a couple more chances. He was making plays. Now, it wasn't perfect. I thought and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts were, but I thought the big issue I had with Bump's play overall, and this even carried over into the third period when he was creating chances and very active, I thought he struggled at times to control the puck. The puck was getting knocked off his stick a little bit too much for my liking when he was facing checkers, and that is something you would expect from someone who hasn't really seen the pro game.
Yeah, that's the thing we're looking for now is the translation. Yeah, man, NCAA hockey, a high level. And when he first got to the AHL, the end of the regular season, that first round series, it was like, oh man, this guy has it. But then you run into the Hershey Bears, who, as we've said many times, like they're basically the 33rd NHL team.
Yeah,
they're in the Calder Cup final every year. They're a bigger, stronger, more professional team. The time and space gets taken away, and suddenly Alex Bump isn't looking like surefire stud that he was early. Again, early in his career, he's a rookie. He was on a freaking pro tryout last year. There's plenty of time, but it's now, okay, these are the things you do. This is the type of player you are. How do you bring that to the next level? And like you said, that was a pretty decent lineup out there for Montreal. And if this is going to be a possession team and one of your things is you make things happen down on the forecheck, you get down low, you take the puck to the net, you're actually going to have to be able to execute, again, one game. But that part makes you think maybe he does need a little more seasoning. Maybe we need to slow down.
Yeah, I wasn't terribly concerned watching him last night about him holding up physically. Like there was one time he got blown up trying to carry the puck down to the low slot by Luke Tuck, where you're just like, yeah, that was a little bit of a welcome to the NHL. You can't just like go into that area and not expect to get blown up. But it wasn't necessarily that he was even getting jostled. It was that he was getting stick checked. Like the puck was just getting knocked off his stick too easily for my liking. And again, it's just, these are better players. This is tougher competition. It's probably easier for him to dangle through traffic at the NCAA level, even at the AHL level, than it is going against actual NHL players who are very used to forcing changes of possession, forcing a carry in into a dump in because the guy wasn't able to control the puck. So that turned me off a little bit. And then the other thing, this is what I've been mostly seeing in my social media mentions, and for me, it's not as big of a deal because my view is like, I've seen his shot. I've seen him finish at the college level. I'm expecting he'll be able to finish at the pro level. But a lot of people came away from from that game being like, well, yeah, he created a lot of chances, but he didn't finish. He didn't finish in the rookie games. He had chances in the rookie games, didn't score a goal in the preseason game. You got to send him down until he learns how to beat pro level goalies. I think it'll happen naturally, but I do get the criticism. And it's fair to point out that he has yet to score in a game environment yet in this camp, both rookie camp and main camp.
Yeah, that's 2 shots on goal on 6 attempts. That's good. We think the shot is going to be fine, but it is a skill. Scoring on an upper level goaltender is a skill.
It took Travis Konechny a couple years.
It took TK. Yeah, man. What do you have, like 11 his rookie year or something? And, and it wasn't until a couple years ago he became a 30-goal scorer. It takes some time, but we when Kelly and I think, did the best case, worst case for each player, I think best case, his rookie year is like the RJ Umberger rookie year, where he pots 20. Maybe that's going to take a little bit of while. And listen, 20 goals is a pretty good total for a rookie,
Yeah.
We love what Matvei Michkov does, and he's got years of pro experience over in Russia. He scored 26. It's not as if he scored 40 right away. It may take a little bit of time, but I did come away maybe just a little bit like not quite as polished as I was hoping.
Yeah, I think with him, the same caveat applies that applies with Luchanko. It was his first preseason
Yeah,
game.
it's the
Let's
first
see
one.
how he does. Even if you think back to the time that Bobby Brink made the team out of camp, his rookie camp was just okay. His first preseason game, if I remember correctly, it was fine. And then he got going, and then the final week and a half of camp, it was we can't keep this guy off the team.
Yes.
He's ready. So not ready to bury any of
No,
these
no.
guys. I thought Luchanko was less impressive to my eyes than Bump because Bump in the third period looked more like he was controlling the game and imposing his will on the game than I ever thought Luchanko was at any time in the game. But I didn't think Luchanko was terrible. And Bump, while it was a little up and down, he showed flashes. Now he's got to take that third period and have that be the whole game.
Yeah, and consistency is another thing. That's the hardest thing for young players to translate. Like, you have to be good every shift. You have to be on top of it. And it's something like Tocchet even said, I believe, about Matvei Michkov. Like, when you have a bad game, let's turn that into a bad period. When you have a
Yep.
bad period, let's turn it into a bad shift. Let's
Yep.
break that up. And it's finding that. And we'll see more. There's nothing to overreact to after one preseason game on the road. You know, that's but it is a data point.
Exactly.
This is where we're starting at zero with these guys, and here they are. It was good to see Bump. Like, that's the thing we like about Alex Bump, I think, more than anything, is he does stuff. So it's not surprising. Like, oh yeah, man, he stood out because he's everywhere. That was a thing in the rookie game. I said when we were there on the Friday before, watching the game, watching the stream. First period, Mercedes is on the call going, it looks like Bump's playing both wings. He is just all over the ice. You see him. He just broke that play up over there, and now he's on the left wing side down low. How is, like, that's Alex Bump's game.
Mhm.
And we're going to see him do that. But put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to make this team is put the puck in the net.
Not wrong.
All right. I want to talk about some of these other roster battles, and maybe there's other guys in the lead than we've thought about. But first, let's take our first break. All right, I have to tell you about our friends at Xfinity. That's right, we're here live in the Xfinity studio. We love the coverage they give us, the absolute great internet. But right now, I got to tell you about watching sports and how the only way to do it is with our friends at Xfinity, because Xfinity is the ultimate sports destination. There's no buffering, there's no lag time, there's no switching between apps. You get all your favorite teams and all the best games all in one place. And it's next level. The viewing experience is absolutely next level with the enhanced 4K picture and sound. So clear, it feels like you're in the arena. And they've even got the quad box, because if you can watch 4 games at once, why not watch 4 games at once? Plus, you get real-time stats and notifications right on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity-capable TV box. All right, and now it's time to tell you about that Ford Explorer. It's America's all-time best-selling SUV. It's got a legacy of trust and performance. Families love this thing. It's great for all occasions, and now it offers 3-row seating for up to 7 passengers. Great for those road trips. It's available in rear-wheel drive and intelligent 4-wheel drive for better traction and control. Comes in 3 different powertrains, including a hybrid for better fuel economy. It's available in a 3-liter EcoBoost V6. Kicks it up to 400 horsepower, and the hybrid model offers up to 500 miles driving range, a great balance of economy and power. It's got all the tech you want as well. The Sync 4 infotainment system, the 12.3-inch digital instrument screen, and when you're looking for an SUV, that's right, you want storage. 87.8 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats folded down. You got to learn more at just go to your local Ford store. It's built for families, ready for adventure. It's a do-it-all SUV. Again, visit your local Ford store for more information. Didn't go great. Let's talk about some of these after one game each, except for one of the guys we're going to talk about who might be about to play in his 3rd straight preseason game.
Seems like it.
Right now, we have talked about the trio of Luchanko, Bump, and Nikita Grebenkin.
Okay.
If it's only going to be one of the 3, Grebenkin in the lead, would you say?
That's a good question. I think he has. I'll put it this way with Grebenkin. I think Grebenkin has done the most in terms of looking like the way he needs to look in order to make the team. But his ceiling is not as high as guys like Bump and Luchanko. Grebenkin has played his game, and he has looked the closest to the game he has to play in order to be an NHL player. So in that sense, sure, I might be willing to put him at the top. But I'm going to say that the work that Bump did in the third period, I think, is of a higher level than Grebenkin can do, because Bump just has a higher offensive upside than Grebenkin does. Grebenkin's been impressive. He's been impressive when he's been paired with michkov. He's been impressive in practices. I thought he looked good in the game he played on Sunday. He was obviously very good in the rookie game. So he has checked every box in a way that I don't know if anyone else competing for spots has done. So in that sense, he deserves to be right at the top of the list. However, you watch what Bump did in the third period, and you're like, well, if he does that for a full game, I don't know if it's between him and Grebenkin. I don't know how you couldn't pick Alex Bump, because there's just more that Bump can do. But Grebenkin has done, as opposed to the other guys, where you'd be like, yeah, Luchanko missed rookie camp, and then his first preseason game, he was just okay. Bump hasn't scored yet. He didn't dominate the rookie games like we were hoping, didn't dominate, was inconsistent in his first preseason game. I think you look at Grebenkin and you're like, I don't know if there's anything that he hasn't done. So in that sense, sure, you could make a case he's top of the list. I'm just not ready to pencil him in yet, because there's only so much he is capable of in comparison to the other guys he's battling.
Yeah, I see Grebenkin as the possible Swiss Army knife. Like, okay, yeah, maybe we have him in a bottom six role, but he's also looked good. You can pair him with Michkov, and you're not losing anything. He brings an element that maybe some guys don't, being able to be physical down low, get to the front of the net, create that traffic. But there's a reason it was, oh yeah, him and a first round pick for Scott Lawton, rather than, oh, these are, guys we drafted who we think very highly of. Like, we know how highly they think of Luchanko. He made the team last year. We know how highly they think of Alex Bump. They haven't stopped talking about him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's a little bit of that bias. And yeah, I don't know if Grebenkin's ever going to be a 30-goal scorer, I don't know if that's who he turns out to be. But right now, I think he's the most ready to handle the NHL and play his game there.
Yeah. And right now, yeah, I guess it's so tough to say, because you look at where, the players that Bump is playing with, the players that
that's part of it,
that Luchanko is playing with, they're still playing. Heck, Nesbitt's playing with NHL caliber players. So I don't want to get ahead of myself and act like, well, Grebenkin's look good to my eyes, so that means that he's number one on the list. I don't know. I know he's up there. He's playing with quality players. He's getting opportunities, but so are the other guys who we know are near the top of the list. And I don't know if he's done enough yet to separate himself, possibly because there's only so much he can do from a physical standpoint.
True. All right. And it seems as if maybe some other guys are working their way into the conversation. We talked about these pro-ready or NHL-ready AHLers who it's just, yeah, man, they could be on our fourth line, no problem, depending on how they want to work this roster. Are they going to go with 2 extra forwards? Are they going to have Delorier in every night? It's just, how do they want to work this thing? That gets us to Rodrigo Abols. You believe he's going to be playing? Well, I think Tocchet said he thinks Abols is going to play.
He did say that, but he also told us yesterday that Sam Ersson was going to get the full game. So I'm going to take a step back and be like, this is what Tocchet told us. Yeah. Let's see if it happens.
There is belief that Rodrigo Abols will be playing in his 3rd straight preseason game. He was the only one to play in the first 2. Now he'll be possibly playing in a 3rd. And you had some pretty decent praise for him. Was he playing the wing last night?
Was Abols?
Yes.
I'd have to go back through my notes. I thought he was at center, okay, but I'd have to go back through my notes.
Out of curiosity. Anyway, Abols may be playing in his 3rd straight, but you had a tweet that he's been looking a lot quicker. And listen, I think it would make sense that if they are as impressed with him as some other people, okay, we're going to give him a chance. Like, 3rd straight game, keep it up. Can you do this on a nightly basis against higher talent? Like, as the preseason moves along, we'll get more and more NHL looking rosters. it's an away game, I guess, for both teams, but it's technically Washington's home game because it's their affiliate in Hershey, even though obviously Flyers much closer. But
are they? I guess they are, right? Because
from DC,
it's about a 2.5 hour drive from Philly.
Yeah, I guess it's probably there's a direct route that probably isn't all that long from DC.
I don't know. I would assume Philly's closer, but it might not be as different as you think. I don't know.
I barely know how to get home from here, so don't take my word for it. But anyway, Abols playing in his third straight, maybe. What have you seen out of Rodrigo these first two?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's worth remembering, like, he played in the NHL last year. He got games. So it's not as if he is a new guy trying to make his NHL debut. He got a taste of it. And it does seem like, as we talked to Abols today, and I basically said, look, to my eyes, you look quicker. Was that a focus of yours this summer? And I'd even say from a physical standpoint, I just said in terms of playing faster. Did you have in your head, I need to play faster in order to be a full-time NHL player? And he said, look, first half of the summer, I spent basically recovering, just basically making sure that my body was 100%. Second half of the summer, I was focused on speed and power, and I was focused on getting that half step. And he made a joke. He's actually a really good guy. Rodrigo Abols is a nice guy to interview. He just seems like a genuinely good person. But he basically made the joke like, look, I'm never going to be Owen Tippett, and I know that. But I can get a half step quicker. My speed burst can be better, so I can win puck races, so I can get the puck into the zone on times where I wasn't able to last year when I was at the NHL level. And I'll be honest, so far, he does look it. It's not as if this is a camp invention. He looks quicker. That first goal that he scored in the first period of Sunday's game, he looked fast. I mean, he came out of there, he took that pass from Nesbitt, and he was moving. That was quicker than I saw Rodrigo Abols look in every single NHL game he played last year. As he said, he's never going to be Owen Tippett. He's never going to be a burner. But I think he's gotten a little bit faster, and he already was, I wouldn't say great at the NHL level, but he didn't look like out of place. He didn't look as if it wasn't, not to take some shots, it wasn't like Aleksei Kolosov at the NHL level last year where, he was an NHL player, but he clearly wasn't ready for the NHL. Rodrigo Abols looked like he could hang. Yeah. And if he's gotten a little bit better, even though he's on the older side, maybe he could do more than hang this year. Maybe he can be a decent enough fourth line player.
And as much as it is still about giving young guys a chance, as much as it is still about development, we know they want the team to be better this year. They keep saying it over and over. Like, okay, it's not the end of the world if we don't make the playoffs, but fourth worst team in hockey, we need to be considerably better than that. And if that's the goal, maybe a veteran 4C or whatever they're going to have Rodrigo Abols at is more the route they want to go than an inconsistent Jett Luchanko, an inconsistent Alex Bump, who are going to be feeling their ways through it. Abols played 22 NHL games last year, 2 goals, 5 points. And he was almost, he was 58.4% in faceoffs.
Yeah,
I know it's not the most important thing in the world, but this team, other than Sean Couturier, can't win a faceoff.
Yeah, and you assume Dvorak's going to help there, but still, if Dvorak today was on a wing with Trevor Zegras, if they're starting to think, well, maybe Dvorak is going to be a wing to give Zegras some support, suddenly you need a fourth line center, and if it's not Luchanko, could it be Abols? Hey, maybe. And there's another thing, too, about Abols, which is why, even though I guess, yes, technically he's competing with Luchanko and Bump and Grebenkin and all the guys that are trying to get spots, they did say they want a 23-man roster. And there's a world where Abols could make this team as the 13th or 14th forward where, he plays sometimes, but I don't think they're going to put Alex Bump on the roster to not play. Whereas Abols is 29 going on 30. He had NHL time last year. He has extensive time playing over in European League in Europe, or I believe the Swedish League in Europe. Yep. SHL in Europe. So this is not a guy who necessarily needs a ton more AHL seasoning. It's not a lot more development. Maybe they're looking at it as, hey, why not? He can play center and win faceoffs. He can play wing. He's versatile. So he can come in when someone gets hurt. He can come in when somebody needs a break. Maybe he does get in the game one lineup, but maybe he makes a team with the knowledge that, hey, he's only playing 3 out of every 8 games, 3 out of every 10 games, and that's fine.
Now, the more we talk about it, like they could go the route where it's like, oh, yeah, man, Jett Luchanko's making this team. He's the 4C, and we're going to find him penalty kill time, ways to get him his 13 minutes or whatever, so he's not just down in the lineup. But there is also a world where it's, yeah, man, we have the 2 extra forwards, and the fourth line is not as set and forget
Yeah.
as it's been, at least when the team is healthy the last few years,
Yeah.
where it is matchup dependent or hot hand dependent or whatever it is. And in that world, I love the idea of Abols making this team. Yeah, man, if he's only going to play half the games, or sometimes we're going to need a little more whatever, so he's in there, a little size, someone who can win some draws. Other times it's going to be other things on the fourth line. I think that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and Abols to me, especially if he's picked up a little bit of a half step, just a little bit quicker, because that was the big. I had someone in my mentions today, and it was a legitimately, like, it could have been my comment because it was exactly my thought. He said, or I'm assuming it's a he, it might have been a girl, I don't know. Basically was like, I watched Abols last year and I thought to myself, he'd be an NHL player if he were a bit faster.
Yeah.
And that was my thought a lot of times I was watching. It was like, hey, he's making plays. He had some points. He was involved offensively, had some good games, but he was slow. He looked slow in comparison to NHL players. He's never going to be fast in comparison to NHL players, but maybe if he's closer to average, that's fine for a fourth liner who's getting 10, 11, 12 minutes a night.
Absolutely. And it's all part of it's, he's almost 30 years old. It's not as if like, oh, development, but learning the game and figuring out what you need to do to stick. He is also in a contract year. Like, he's an unrestricted free agent after this year. So he is going to push to try to, like, I want to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to stay in North America
Yeah.
because this is the highest level. It would make sense. And I see a world where he could absolutely make this team, especially again, if the goal is we're trying to be better. The NHL, I argued this, like, oh, it's not a developmental league. It is. Everyone's developing.
Yeah.
Guys like Sean Couturier in year 9 was better than he was in year 8. Like, that's just anyway. I'm looking forward to watching these camp battles, but one more guy deserves mentioning. It's our favorite player.
They're a boy.
It's the PHLY Flyers' favorite player, Tony Dick.
Tony Dick.
He does it again. Scores a goal using that speed, rips a shot to beat the goaltender. Again, maybe the fourth line's not set and forget. Maybe we have some veterans who are extras. We move them in and out. I could very well see Tony Dick in that role as a fourth line winger.
Yeah, he's another guy. I mentioned about Abols being a 13th forward, 14th forward. He's another guy who certainly is of the age and not of the need to develop more.
Yeah.
Where you could have him hang around the team, go on that first road trip. Maybe he gets in a game here and there, but he's not playing every night. And that's fine because he's in his late 20s. He's not a prospect. He's not a guy they drafted, a guy who they're focused on trying to develop. It's just, yeah, he brings speed. And if we decide we need a fast punch on that fourth line or maybe even on the third line in a given game, let's give Richard a shot. I think it's just impressive that because going into last year, he was not on anybody's radar.
No.
He was a guy they signed in the offseason. You're like, yeah, he'll be an AHL or whatever.
Scores some AHL goals.
And then he had a real good preseason.
He did.
And he put himself on the map, and then he got games in the NHL for the Flyers. Really, his momentum started in preseason. And it's just impressive that then preseason, again, not a lot of hype around Richard. We're talking about guys like Grebenkin. We're talking about Bump. We're talking about Luchanko. We're talking about Nesbitt. We're talking about even guys like Abols and Gaucher. We're probably above Richard. And what does Richard do? He just goes out and is like, hey, remember me? I'm going to score again. Good for him.
He has a nose for the net, only 2 goals and I think 15 NHL games last year, but we all know what he's done at the AHL level. He has proven he can score there. And as a swing AHL, NHL guy, you could do a lot worse.
You really could.
Very much proved he could hang. He can play a role. He's got speed. We know he can shoot the puck.
Even if he doesn't make the team, you assume he will get in NHL games this year for the Philadelphia Flyers.
It would be surprising if he didn't. Yeah. He was one of the call-ups last year. Now, listen, new coaching staff. They're looking for different things. We have more young guys who we think are just about ready. But if you're just looking for a guy you can bring up and maybe he gives you a little something, I can see that as well. So I will always... Does Anthony Richard know that we call him Tony Dick?
I didn't bring it up to him last year. I feel like when he gets on the roster, whether it's the start of the season or whether it's at some point in a call-up, I'm gonna have to pull him aside and be like, Are you okay that, like, we call you Tony Dick?
Because we're doing it.
It is such a good-natured way. It's not making fun of him.
I want him to make the team. I want him to make the team. I like him a lot. He was an entertaining player last
There
year.
are some names that are given to guys to make fun of them. This is just funny because his name is Anthony Richard, and it turns it into a very funny Americanized version of his
It's
name.
making fun of us being illiterate Americans, like mostly me. And that's I'm entertained by Anthony Richard. He's a fun player to watch.
He's a fun player. He's got the speed.
Yeah.
And he scores a lot.
I do wonder, like, in terms of him making the team, then we got to take a break, and then I want to talk about the goalies and everything. In terms of him making the team, in season, maybe like this time of year, everyone's trying to get their Anthony Richards through waivers. So no one's going to claim Anthony Richard, in the first week of October, because everyone has those guys they're trying to get through waivers. Maybe he doesn't make it right away, and then it's okay. We'll bring him up to be the 13th, 14th, 12th, 11th, whatever forward, and he can stick. But trying to do the roster gymnastics, he gets sent down initially because this is the time we can sneak him through, and maybe not later on. Now, we always say this, and then they get guys through waivers all the time, but maybe that does play a role.
It does. I don't think he's the kind of guy that would get claimed because every team has an Anthony Richard.
Yep.
They have a guy in his late 20s who has played in NHL games, but is probably not good enough to be an every night guy, or at least hasn't proven that he's good enough yet. So I don't know if it's something they have to be terrified about, but it's probably in consideration. They like him, and hey, they know that he's good enough that if a team is dealing with injuries, maybe they're going to poach him.
That's a team that has a few injuries in December, if you're trying to send him down then, it might be more difficult than right now when everyone's like, yeah, man, we all have 3 Tony Dicks and we're trying to get them through, and we all do, because it's one of those unwritten NHL things where the GMs don't mess with each other too much.
Not too much.
Yeah. I mean, they will every now and then, like, say St. Louis's GM is pals with the guy in Edmonton who just got fired, and so he's going to stick it to his replacement by sending 2 offer sheets when we usually get 0 throughout the whole league. Yeah, that happens, but otherwise the GMs pretty much don't mess with each other.
Yeah, and like there's an element too where part the reason why they don't mess with each other from a waiver standpoint is if you claim a guy, you're going to have to keep him.
Yeah.
So yeah, there might be some bad blood between GMs. I'm sure there are some GMs that just don't like each other, that they just don't get along or whatever. But you have to, if you're claiming Anthony Richard, the idea of like, well, I'm claiming Anthony Richard because Danny Briere didn't pay for the bar tab back in in June or whatever. Like, then you have to be high enough on Richard to keep him.
That's funny that's what it could be. All right, I do want to talk about the goalies.
I'm sure Danny Briere pays all of his tabs. He doesn't stick his friends with bills.
I can't imagine. All right. Now it's time for our second break. It is time to tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, because September's here. Hell, it's almost October, and that means football's back, hockey right around the corner, school is in. It's kind of like New Year's light, which makes it a great time to get your finances in shape too. And I have been myself checking in on my credit score lately. And I got to tell you, if you're a member of TrueMark Financial Credit Union, you've already got a serious edge. I've told you about my struggles with my credit score and handling my finances. And even I have figured out a way to make it work for me. And that's with Savvy Money. Savvy Money is a tool right inside the TrueMark online banking and mobile app. I use it, and seriously, it's like having your own financial coach right in your pocket. You can check your credit score anytime, and it doesn't take a hit. You'll also get updates if anything changes, and alerts and tips on how to improve it. If you're already on Team TrueMark, it's super simple. Just fire up that app and check out Savvy Money today. And if you're not a member yet, now is the perfect time to join. Step up your financial game. Swing by one of their 24 branches or visit TrueMark.com/PHLY to open an account today. TrueMark Financial Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA. While we're here, it's time to tell you about Rothman. Let's talk about getting you back to what you love, especially now. Again, it's kind of like New Year's light. And why not? Why not get yourself back in shape? Why not get back to playing pickup, whatever it is, whether you're biking or you're chasing your kids through all of their different sports and everything. You have to go to Rothman Orthopedics because your body doesn't always cooperate, especially as you start to age, from aches after a pickup game to old injuries flaring up. Rothman's team of experts is here to help. They're here to help with evidence-based care and a commitment to restoring your mobility. They'll get you back out there stronger than ever. Don't let pain put you on pause. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to book your appointment today and get back to doing what you love pain-free. Rothman Orthopedics, getting you back is their mission. All right, Chuck.
Before we get going, we're 99 likes.
Not
So we're
enough.
going to blast through to 100 very soon. But I want to get to at least 125, if not 150, by the end of the show. Come on, gang. Hit that like button.
Now it is time to talk goaltenders.
Oh, is this when you're going to bring in the conspiracy theory?
No conspiracy theories, just little shocked that the head coach doesn't know what the goalie plan is. The guy who's in charge of the bench doesn't know what's going on the bench. Little shocking to me.
Okay.
So noon yesterday, we get a tweet from Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. Sam Ersson will play the whole game tonight, per Rick Tocchet. And then last night, we find out, well, after the first period in which Sam Ersson let in a couple of goals, here comes Aleksei Kolosov. And then we see Jordan Hall tweet, the plan all along was for Sam Ersson to play just one period, not the full game, according to a source. Rick Tocchet just misspoke this morning when he said Ersson would play the full game, which led you to quote it. Okay, so Ersson isn't hurt, because that's the automatic assumption. All right.
That was my fear, especially given the groin issues he dealt with last year.
It's one of the things that has held him back throughout his career is the stop and start, the injury issues. He plays one period. It's his first period of the season. Maybe he tweaked something. Not the case. He isn't hurt. He comes out after one period in which he gives up two. I'm not going to blame him for one. The goal was given up. Bad rush coverage on the 3-on-2. Cole Caufield, way too much time and space.
Yeah.
But that's second goal.
It was real bad.
The second goal, the Habs get a clean breakout off a D-zone faceoff. Didn't love the transition defense at all last night. They get the puck deep, and then maybe through a little bit of traffic, Luke Tuck is in the vicinity, but Florian Jacki kind of just dribbles a puck through Ersson.
It was a real bad goal. Yeah.
Good for Florian Jacki. Happy for him. But come on, Sam.
Got to make those saves
Come on,
in this
Sam.
league, William.
This is an AHL player, and you're supposed to be our #1 goalie. Do you think the plan all along was for Ersson to only play one period?
Well, I can tell you, number one, that they're not lying about the injury because he was out there on the ice today. I saw him with my own two eyes. If he tweaked anything, if the guy you are penciling in as your #1 goalie most likely tweaks even a little bit of something, you're not going to have him out in practice the next day. So they're not hiding an injury. He's not hurt. He was out there today. Now, is it possible that this was not a misspeak and it was more a change of plans? That I could see. It would shock me. Let me put it this way. It would absolutely shock me if this was a case of Rick Tocchet threw a temper tantrum because Sam Ersson gave up a weak goal and is like, Kolosov, get in there. I can't look at you. Like, I don't think that happened. What I could see happen was the original plan was to have him play the whole game, and then maybe Kim Dillaball walked into Danny's office and was like, hey, we can't have him play the whole game. He's not ready for that. And then they changed their minds and then just positioned it as it was a misspeak rather than we changed 3 hours before puck drop.
Misspeak, and no, I don't envision the thing was Tocchet comes in, is like, this guy sucks, and throws a Tortorella tantrum or whatever. I don't think that happened. I do think the change of plans,
that's very possible.
Because we have seen in Ersson's career these last 2 years as the goalie, when it goes bad, early, and then you have to figure something else out. Maybe Kim Dillaball is like, listen, Rick Tocchet's been here a couple of weeks. Kim Dillaball is like, these are the signs of bad Ersson. Let's not let him let in 5 in his first preseason game.
Maybe.
Let's go with Kolosov, who we talked yesterday. He's going to go to the AHL. Look, he's going to play. He's going to dress tonight, and he's not supposed to get in, and then ends up playing over 39 minutes. it's just a little shocking. And not shocking to me. It's just misspeak to me is everybody trying to interpret Connor McDavid being like, or Quinn Hughes being like, I have enjoyed my time in Edmonton or Vancouver. It's not saying one thing that's the complete opposite of then what happens.
What I will say is that it would have been, let me put it this way. I was surprised when Tocchet said Ersson was going to play the entire
That was a little surprising.
That was surprising for the second preseason game for your presumptive number one to play the whole game. That was surprising. So it's a little bit easier for me to, because I had that initial reaction, it's easier for me to say in retrospect, like, Tocchet just didn't have a good handle on what was going on. And then after he said it, Danny's like, no, he ain't playing the whole game. We changed our minds.
That's the other thing is we've seen this. We see it all the time. Coaches, and like in football, I think the coaches like purposefully don't speak to the trainers before they go up so they can be like, I don't know, I haven't spoken to them, so they don't have to comment on an injury. I'm not saying this is an injury situation, but like Tocchet may have just said that thinking, yeah, that's what I'd like to see because it's my first time coaching this guy. I want to see what he has. And then he goes and speaks to Danny or Dilly or whoever, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. And he's already spoken to the media. They're not going to put out a statement to be like, actually, everybody, like that's not going to happen. So it could easily just be a miscommunication.
Yes.
But the idea of misspoke, like that was like, yeah, I don't, that's not misspeaking to me, but I'm not here. I'm not going to parse words any further. I think it's very possible plans changed either in the locker room or right after Tocchet addressed the media where they're like, actually, that's not what we're doing.
What I'd have to say is that knowing the way this organization does business, I don't think this is going to become a regular issue because I think they will make sure going forward that they're on the same page about this stuff. If anything, they may just tell Tocchet, don't give them any answers about goalies. Just don't. Just be like,
that's Dilly.
Yeah, it's Dilly. Sorry. You'll find out when he hits the ice.
Yeah.
Like they will have a talk about this and say, we can't have this happen again. We all got to be on the same page message-wise because that's very important to them, especially after Torts when they had a guy who they could not get on the same page with them message-wise.
He was purposefully on a different page.
Yeah.
They'd be like, open your books to page 13. He'd be like, I'm on page 420. Anyway, Kolosov comes in relief, stops 12 of 13 in the second and third period in relief. He stopped 15 of 17 to start the game on Sunday. That makes him 27 of 30 for an even .900 save percentage. What did you think of Coley in his second game of action?
I think he looks pretty okay. I wouldn't say he is dominant. He's not making me consider keeping him up with the NHL team to start the year, but he looks pretty good. And it gives me hope that he can carry over that pretty good into the AHL to start the year and be ready if one of these two guys gets hurt.
And that's again, you talk about the level of competition on the ice. This is Nick Suzuki scoring on a feed from the half wall from Slavkovsky, and Suzuki just kind of slipped in between Hunter McDonald, Oscar Eklund, and Ethan Sampson, none of whom we're expecting to see any, or if they get some extensive NHL time this year, and this is their first line. That's just kind of the way it is. I think the puck may have caught some sticks on its way in, but like it was bad transition defense that allowed this goal. That's what happened. I didn't blame him for the goal that went in.
Everything we've seen from Kolosov so far in camp has been positive. Not eye-poppingly great, but positive, and it's all colored by the fact that it seems like this time he's willing to go to the AHL, which is where he should be.
Yeah, if he is simply fine, that is good for where he is in his developmental process. I just need him to be fine. We'll see how he goes. I thought, he comes over late last year and he gets into a preseason game and we're like, oh, he's good.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe we've just been watching what is going to be the worst goalies in hockey. But we'll see as the intensity level picks up in the preseason. I'm sure Kolosov is going to get some extensive time in these preseason games. We haven't seen Vladar yet. Is that surprising to you?
No. Because it seems like he's going to play tomorrow.
Okay.
If I'm right, and again, just a guess, if I'm right that Group A was the game group in anticipation of tomorrow's game in Hershey, it was Vladar and Kolosov. I cannot imagine Kolosov is going to get into a third straight game, at least playing significant time. Maybe he gets a period, but I think Vladar will play on Thursday. So I don't think It's mildly surprising he didn't get in one of the first two, but as long as he gets into Thursday's game, then it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's just mildly surprising because they have 4 goalies and they've played 2 games. It's like, oh, yeah, well, you split them up even. And that's not the way it's going yet, but they do have 3 road preseason games to start the preseason slate. Just a little surprising, but I don't really care. All right. I want to ask you if there's any other interesting standouts from last night, because to me, the only highlights of the game, other than Owen Tippett actually scoring on the power play, were D'Lo and Hunter McDonald, because they won their fights, baby. D'Lo roughs up Florian Jacki. Jacki had, I think, 175 penalty minutes in the AHL last year. They like an element he brings. I bet you he plays in the NHL for them this year.
Maybe.
He's a tough guy. And
he's having a good game.
Our veteran tough guy was like, not so fast. I even asked yesterday, you think the veteran, like D'Lo doesn't need to go out there. We know what Nick Delorier is. He's one of the premier fighters in this league. He's a true enforcer. He doesn't need to give Florian one, but I like that he did.
Apparently he wanted to. He wanted to fight.
I love that so much.
He wanted to fight both the Jack guys.
Both of them.
Yeah. Apparently, I think there was a clip they played on the broadcast that we didn't have of him basically saying, like, I want to fight. And then apparently he said, I think Florian Jacki said that Delorier was talking to him between the glass in the penalty box after the fight. And he said, yeah, you held your own, kid. Good work. I actually, if we're talking about fights, the thing I liked the most, I didn't get a chance to ask Abols this today, but I liked what Abols did with Arbor Jacki, where Abols takes an obvious penalty. It's a tripping penalty. Flyers are going to be shorthanded, and then he goes right at Arbor Jacki, and he draws a double minor on Arbor Jacki and turns a penalty kill opportunity into a power play opportunity, and I believe it's the power play that Tippett scored on. That's heads up play. You messed up. Let's try to goad this guy who, is prone to fits of anger into a penalty.
He almost Bertuzzi'd somebody in the freaking preseason last year. Like, the Jack guys are nuts. Listen, I'd take both of them. But like, they're violent maniacs. Yeah. That's the guy you target. It's like trying. When you have one of those guys on the ice, like the way teams do with Tony DeAngelo, you see it all the time. Like, oh, I took a tripping minor. I bet you I can get him to punch me in the face.
And you probably could.
You probably can. Maybe, like, I appreciate that as well. McDonald got the best of Luke Tuck as well. Like to see that. McDonald has a way to go as a defenseman, but
I didn't think he was bad last night.
He didn't
get a lot of minutes, but I thought he was fine in the minutes he got.
I thought him not playing a ton was odd. Like, why not?
It's pretty clear that he's not legitimately in the mix to make this.
Yeah, like, team. What's this? We know Travis Sanheim's going to play a ton. I don't know. Like, give him 14 minutes. Just let him get his cardio in.
They gave Grans a lot of minutes. They gave Gilbert a lot of minutes. They gave Hunter McDonald under 15 minutes. It speaks to the fact that he really isn't in contention to make this team out of camp.
There's no point in giving
Ginning is above him if we're talking about lefty shot, mean defensemen who are, AHLers trying to prove they're NHLers. It seems like Ginning has jumped McDonald, which is a bit disappointing given the fact that the organization really likes Hunter McDonald. So that's a little bit of a bummer.
Grans, did you like Grans?
Thought he had his moments. There were some times where I wanted to see him play a little bit more physical. Didn't love his coverage on the 3-on-2 that led to the Caufield goal. Thought he could have chosen one of the players rather than ending up in no man's land. But I thought he also had some decent plays down low, using his leverage and his size to win some battles. So I would say mixed bag for Grans from my perspective.
All right. Before we wrap up today, I have to wish a very happy birthday to Gritty. It is the anniversary. It is the 7-year anniversary of the introduction of Gritty, September 24th, 2018. I just love the roller coaster we went on with Gritty. I thought it was amazing right away simply because they named him freaking Gritty.
You would.
Which means it's because it's a joke about us. Like, it was kind of a shot at how stupid we are, and I always like when people make fun of me. I find it great. It is, Philadelphia fans are a certain way, and it's like, yeah, we named him Gritty. There's no way that's not sarcastic, and I find that hilarious. He has gone on, and listen, Flyers fans kind of rejected him right away. We don't need a mascot. What the hell is this cracked out Muppet? And then the rest of the world got to look at Gritty, and we can talk about family, but you don't talk about us.
Exactly.
And Gritty has been a beloved figure ever since.
And also the death threats towards the Penguins mascot helped.
Well, yeah, that's very fun. I mean, when you have like threats of violence on Sesame Street, that's automatically hilarious.
Not wrong.
All right, let's cue overtime, and I think we have one super
We have
chat.
one super chat.
All right.
Overtime continues online. Check out allphly.com to continue watching. I do, before we get to the super chat, I want to talk briefly about Rick Tocchet's new nickname.
Yeah, it's gonna maybe be in your practice notes.
It will be in
video.
my practice notes. Had to do a practice notes for that one, but apparently
we have been calling him Tock, and that's just like a very easy hockey nickname. You just shorten it, and we joke Tocky Hockey when they first hired him. We're gonna play some Tocky Hockey. Trevor Zegras is going a different direction.
Sure is.
He's calling him Taco.
Taco. It's so good.
It's so easy and stupid. I can't believe it hasn't come up before.
It's so dumb. And yeah, you're like, how did I not think of that?
Yeah.
How did I not think of calling him Taco?
Yeah. We need to make shirts. Like, this needs to be a thing. Like, it needs to be a thing. Like, Philly taco and it's a cheesesteak. Like, come on.
Oh
it's super easy. All right.
That's good.
That's really funny. Charlie's got like a whole clip of it. Check out his practice notes. Going to be live a little bit after today's show. Let's hit these super chats. Couple from our pal Adam S, because he is the super chat master. Says, Ersson seems to get worse at goaltending every season. I hope Tock pulled him because he stanks. Let's go, Darth Vladar.
The same thing that I said about Sean Couturier at the beginning of the show about veterans. The first couple preseason games, not that big of a deal. It holds for Sam Ersson too. Let's not overreact to the fact that he gave up one bad goal in his first preseason action.
Sure, it's just like I'm not starting positively predisposed the way I am with Coots. Like we both think there's more there with Sam Ersson. We both think, given proper rest in between starts, not playing him 3-4 times a week, he could establish himself as a decent tandem or backup goalie. But the fact remains that his results have been bad. And I don't think this is filling anyone with confidence. And again, it's one preseason game. It's one preseason period. He has played 20 minutes of hockey in the preseason behind what is not an NHL lineup for the most part. But it doesn't fill me with confidence.
I just think this is more confirmation bias than anything else.
100%.
The people who are the most like, oh, Ersson sucks, are the people who already thought he sucked.
100% confirmation bias. But that bias is informed by his results.
Okay.
That's all.
My thing is that if he's actually bad this year, we're going to have so much time to talk about him being actually bad in real games. Let's not dwell on the game that doesn't actually matter.
And the second one from Adam S says, I thought Gilbert looked pretty good.
Yeah, he got an assist, I believe, on the Tony Dick goal.
Yeah.
I thought number one, I thought he was fine. For the most part, he was fine. Number two, given the fact that, at least in my head, his biggest competition is Noah Juleson, all he had to do was not be bad, and he was going to be impressive, and he was impressive by those standards.
Especially if it's that, are we going to carry 7 defensemen and 2 forwards? Like,
right.
If it's going to be one who sits, it's probably one of those two.
You would think, right?
Which means they come in, there's no call-up for an injury, which means they have to play. And if it's Juleson v. him, round 1 goes to Gilbert.
Yes. And again, wasn't like Gilbert was unbelievable, but
Juleson was bad.
He was fine, and Juleson was actively poor.
So that's that. All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on the PHLY Sports YouTube page. We're live every day at 4 p.m. when there aren't games. No pre and post for preseason. We let you know yesterday, but I'm going to keep repeating it. Hit that like button. We're not at 150. Unacceptable. Hit the freaking like button.
Oh, 149.
149. All right. That's okay. But come on. 200 live every day or else. All right, that's it. Follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And we are, follow the podcast. Just search PHLY Flyers. Adam S. gets another one in. Plus, he fights.
Cool.
Dennis Gilbert. I'm
sure he's dropped the gloves on more than one occasion.
Glove dropper.
I don't think.
All right. Well, then I'm all for it. Let's see some more fights this year. It can't
We're
just
150.
It can't just be D'Lo. More fights, everybody. Matt Fay, you need one. I need one scrap. All right. That's that. My name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Thank you to Brenna. Until tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.